It's been a historic summer in Portland, and people continue gathering to call for racial equality and the reform of police. Our Fox 12's Nora Hart is here in studio with a look at the protests that happened this weekend, and these marked a major milestone.
Yeah, definitely, Bonnie. This weekend actually marked 100 days of protests in the city of Portland. While Saturday featured some peaceful events during the day, police ended up declaring a riot that night. The 100th night of protests started off at Ventura Park in southeast Portland. Anywhere from 300 to 400 people gathered to listen to speakers and performers before they marched to the East Precinct. But before protesters even left the park, Portland police told the crowd they would not be permitted to leave the park and go to the East Precinct.
This gathering will not be permitted to proceed to East Precinct.
Police gave several warnings, declaring the group a riot, and began to use pepper balls at the crowd. This is when the night took a turn. That's when several Molotov cocktails were thrown in the direction of the police line, falling short and hitting a protester whose feet caught on fire.
Tear gas and/or impact weapons. Leave area immediately.
Fireworks were set, and this is when tear gas was deployed to disperse the crowd. Protesters broke off into smaller groups and eventually regrouped at the park again. Police moved them into the neighborhood near Ventura Elementary School and used even more tear gas. Neighbors say they could smell the tear gas in their homes, and they say police shouldn't have pushed the protesters into their neighborhood.
That was the worst decision ever. This whole neighborhood is full of kids and families and parents. This park gets more usage than any other park I've lived next to. It's constantly full. The policing doesn't need to be like that.
Overall, police say 59 people were arrested Saturday night. They face charges including riot, interfering with a peace officer, and more. Sunday night was another demonstration, this time people gathering at Alberta Park before marching to the North Precinct. Police say once there, people dragged 2 mattresses and yard debris into the street and lit a large fire. They had to call Portland Fire and Rescue to put out the fire as it sent embers into the sky. And that was a concern because of the extremely dry conditions. Officers ended up making 15 arrests and say people had things like a glass jar filled with flammable liquid and a bottle of accelerant, a slingshot, a stun gun, baton, and ballistic vests, including one with the word press on it. And Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler released a statement about the use of tear gas on Saturday night. He says in part, quote, "The incident commander determined that its use was necessary, at least in part because of the fires being set in the neighborhood. I welcome an open and frank discussion about what tools officers should use, which they should not, and where to draw the line." Well, since the protesting began in late May, Portland police have declared a riot more than 10 times. Live in studio, Nora Hart, Fox 12 Oregon.